She was one of the founders of the Judson Dance Theater, and she cultivated that. She had Trisha Brown, Steve Paxson, all these people who were really in that company. And then she decided to pursue her own types of work. I'm sure you've all heard of her artist manifesto, the No Manifesto. I'm just going to read a couple of them, and I'm sure you can pretty well see them in the piece I'm going to perform a little bit. She believes that artists should say no to spectacle, no to transformations and magic and make-believe, no to the glamour and trendency of the star image, no to the anti-heroic, no to trash imagery, no to involvement of performer or spectator, no to style, no to camp, no to seduction of the spectator by the wiles of the performer, no to being moved or moving. So she had a lot of these beliefs that were very provocative, I think, to say the least. The piece I'm going to be performing for you to close our informal showing is called Trio A, which is initially part of a larger work entitled The Mind is a Muscle. In this piece, she doesn't believe in having a theme. She doesn't believe in having an arc. What she wants to do is just create a piece about dance and what that means. Originally, it was performed with Steve Paxson, and it was from this entire show. But in the video that you'll see in a bit, she actually videotaped it because in the latter part of her career, she really wanted to be invested in film. So you'll see those sort of influences. Why did I choose to do this? I remember when we were being shown, David showed this piece in class, and we were all just, what is this? Because the idea of having, in Trio A, no movements are repeated. It's all just a continuous plateau of movement, and that's it. And so for us to see it, also being involved with Melanie's solo forms, we're like, what is she thinking? So it was a very emotional reaction for me, and I needed to understand why I was so emotional to this and what that really meant. So I did my research, and I found, interestingly enough, that there is a lot of work that goes into it. In the piece that I'll show you, I really wanted to overwhelm the audience with all this movement. So what I chose to do is I have the film that she created, and I chose to splice them and put them in random orders to further confuse the audience. And the movement that I devised is a blend of both my interpretation of what she's or the movement that's been produced, as well as some really key sort of, not really motifs, but just key images that I saw. So I blended those two together to create my portion of the variation. I also have a bit of text. It's a lecture done by Sarah Wuki, and it sort of explains what Yvonne was, what she was thinking while she was creating the piece. A couple facts about it. Yvonne says that if you ever want to learn this piece, you need to dedicate 25 hours to learning a 4.5-minute piece. This piece was created in a 6-month period at this time frame. The dancers were not working, so they had a lot of time to create. And so she spent 6 months devising this entire piece. She says if you want to further perform it, it's another 25 to 50 hours. I obviously did not put that much time into this. I did, staying awake at night trying to learn it. Another interesting fact about this is that the film isn't actually used for learning purposes. I also kind of went against that. And Yvonne actually did not dance 3 years prior to creating this video. So what you'll see is just her approaching movement.
That dance is hard to see, and I think the trio should try to push that even further and creating a dance that was complex in its choreography. but also to just create a dance that was about dancing. So there are no objects, there's no music, there's no text, and that she's interested in the act of dancing here, and sort of doing the job, doing the labor of dancing, and that's enough. That the performer doesn't have to communicate to the audience, that she's doing her thing, you're just there doing your thing, as the audience will just have to be in the same room together. Trio A is a dance that I somehow always felt I knew, not that I knew the movement and how to execute them, but I knew it on a conceptual level, and somehow, maybe because the movement seen in the 1978 film of the dance could somehow be felt in my body. Those weighted swinging arms, the tapping foot, the head turned from one corner to the other, the general lack of look at me attitude, that somehow for me, as a student of hybrid forms of postmodern dance and this thing called release technique, seemed so tangible, so absolutely doable. Then I engaged in actually learning those movements from Yvonne, and what I thought would be a somewhat speedy dance learning experience turned into 60 hours of dance labor over the course of 3 months in the studio in Los Angeles. Me sweating my way through the arduous task of learning the dance for nothing except walking repeats. Only right angles and curves are allowed as directional shifts, and juxtapositions of various body parts are expected to be executed with a kind of evenness and unfaltering quality. I had my work cut out for me. Again, this is a 4.5-minute dance. She spent 6 months making it in the studio full time. This was 1966. I don't think any of the artists had to work to earn a living. I think the rent was about $45 a month or something like that. So she spent all day in the studio for 6 months creating a 4.5-minute dance that she claims takes 30 hours to learn the basics. And then if you want to perform it, it takes another 20 or 30 hours. So you're talking 50 to 60 hours of rehearsal to learn a 4.5-minute dance, if that kind of gives you some context for the labor involved, which you'll see later on hopefully as we break it down. While working with Yvonne and learning the dance, one thing that struck me was the precise and consistent verbal language she uses to describe movement and intention. Her language references dance forms and choreographers such as allow the ballet arm and the Martha Graham walk, as well as metaphors, adjectives, and imagery in like hammer and nail and like rocks on the end of the string. It is this kind of information that for me as a transmitter of the dance is the backbone of it. Rayner's language supports the correct delivery of her dance and points to what is important to her about her dance and how she wants it to be performed.
Stand. Drop a little by bending your knees, looking to the left at the same time. Trace arcs of your arm around your body 5 times, starting with your left arm going forwards. Think of your arms as pendulums rising like centrifugal force above. Leaning with your left leg, take 2 steps, turning counterclockwise, bringing your arms out horizontally. Trace 2 circles out with your arms. As you get close to completion, start to turn clockwise, tracing or leading with your right, left, ending on your right.